and I immersed the person, if you want to call it that, in the sound field and the quantum fields. If you look at my YouTube video, you'll see I have 4 channels focused on where the person is laying. And then I have lights up above, which modulate on and off with the frequency component of the music. Because I started years ago working on, attempting to do sensory entrainment. And it's well known that the human body is sensitive to light. You have your eyesight. And I was attempting to bring into tune with the musical component every sense I could in the body. I had the vibrational sense, I had the quantum sense, I had the light sense. But later I learned that using the quantum type light, where the light actually comes out of a quantum well, is another input to the non-physical structure. So I use that as well as the sense of light on the surface of the body. That's why a lot of people come up here. They dress either scantily or they lay there naked because they want to get the whole effect, completely on their body. So the idea of sensory entrainment has gone into some sort of a metaphysical musical experience, which we're still not sure exactly what it is. But I do have people come up mostly from New York City, and they experience it, and then they make a donation, to keep my work going as much as we can.
I'm getting a question from the chat room about the pyramids. Is there anything you can say or know about the pyramids that most people don't know?
Well, from what we can find out, based upon the use of underground sonar, that an associate of mine brought a sonar set up from Fort Meade up here just after I moved in, there's 2 some sort of rock underground pyramids on my property. And then there's a huge one up the hill from my property. And excuse me. We believe that we're interfacing the person, the music machine, and the pyramid. And the pyramid is giving us some sort of amplification, possibly tying into the Earth's molten core.
Okay. Do you have any, I guess the person's asking, do you have any theories or thoughts on how they were built or where they came from?
Well, we believe the pyramids that are under my property came from a planet around one of the central suns of our galaxy. This is what's been picked up by metaphysical psychic people about it. Other than that, who built the Great Pyramids, I don't know. I don't think they were built by slave labor. There had to be something extraordinary involved in building the big pyramids, in Central America, Egypt, and other areas. I hope that answers the question.
I do too. Let's see. Well, I think at this point I'd like to take a break. Mr. Nichols, are you back from break?
Yep, I'm here.
All right. Let's see. We've got a caller.
The only question I have, is this a dream?
Oh, I've questioned that all the time myself, whether when we're asleep, is that really the waking time, and when we're awake, is that really the dream time?
I wondered.
I question that all the time myself.
Mm.
All right. Are you ready for a caller?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's hope I can hear him.
Area code 74. I'll be sure and speak up. Is this Mark?
Yes, Thomas. This is Mark from Ohio. How are you this evening?
Well, if I was any better, I'd be in Nicaragua getting a suntan.
All right. Preston, how are you this evening?
I think I'm alive.
That's good. Place to start. I wanted to ask you, how long did you work at Montauk?
From roughly 1972 to 1983. And then I had a short time in 97.
So you went back for a little while?
Yeah, they called me back in on that comet project, the Hale-Bopp Comet project.
What was going on with the Hale-Bopp comet?
There was a spaceship behind it.
You're kidding.
No, there was a spaceship. It was destroyed.
Who destroyed the spaceship?
We did. And the representatives of the Zardanian order that were here weren't very happy. First, we moved the comet itself in space and time. That's why one evening you were seeing at 7:30 at night, and then the next day you were seeing around 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. Because we literally jumped the comet from approaching the planet to leaving the planet. Because that comet was supposed to hit.
It was going to hit Earth?
Yeah.
Oh. So
we solved that, and then we had to get rid of the thing behind it. The thing that was guiding it.
Yep. The spaceship was behind the comet?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, I see. Wasn't there a group of people, and this is just from memory, some kind of, was it a cult or something that actually believed that there was a spaceship behind Hale-Bopp Comet during that time? I'm just pulling that from my memory. It may not be correct.
Yeah, there was. I've forgotten the name of the cult.
So they were actually correct?
Yes, they were correct. The government doesn't want to admit it, whether they were going to be taken aboard, whether their spirits were going to be taken aboard the ship, who the hell knows for sure.
So at Montauk, they had tremendous technology that could just do incredible things.
To a technologist like myself, I was like a kid in a candy shop there.
I can imagine.
Goes. Later,
now,
when I finally tumbled onto what they were doing, I didn't like it.
Now, when you were there, was it like Bob Lazar? I've heard Bob Lazar say that when he would leave Area 51 and he would get home, he could not remember anything that he had done while he was at work. Was that the kind of experience you had, or?
Mm-hmm. I wasn't even aware I was there until I broke the memory block.
So, did they have a screen memory in place?
Did they have what?
Did they have a false memory there? You had to account for that time somehow, right? I mean, did you think you were doing something else during that time, or?
Well, when I broke the memory block, it actually turned out I had two memories for the same time. As far as I could figure, the work I was doing for the company that I was employed by was real. What it appeared to be, when I was at Montauk, I was on a different timeline. So I could be in Deer Park or Melville and at the same time be out of Montauk.
I've heard this kind of thing before, that there are actually multiple timelines. And does that?
Yes, this is true.
Does that imply that there are multiple each one of us on these different timelines?
Very possibly. I would say the probability is in the high 90s for that.
Thomas, kick me off here anytime you want. I don't mean to take up so much of your show. I have a million questions. I just think his whole experience is just so fascinating. This device they were using to amplify people's minds, could it manifest anything?
Just about. If the person could think of the object or whatever complete enough, it could manifest it. We literally had a manifestation.
Was there a time delay, or did it manifest things right away?
There was a time delay because it took time for the transform the process through the computers.
Was it like hours or days or?
It depended upon the complexity of the transform that was being processed. If it's a simple transform, it was very quick in minutes. If you're trying to create a whole nother reality, it could take years.
When they were originally doing these experiments, did they try to create simple things at first?
Yes, they did.
Like pencils or a can of beer or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
That is amazing. So does that imply that we all inherently have this ability to manifest reality through our thoughts?
Yes, we do. It depends upon how well our physical consciousness is connected to our soul consciousness, which is a good part of my research and my work. Because generally when we're born, we have a direct connection. We have 7 levels of consciousness and 1 level of subconscious connecting to the non-physical consciousness. As we grow up in our society, we end up with 4 levels of consciousness, 3 levels floating free that we call subconscious, and still the 1 level true subconscious that connects to the superconscious or the soul conscious. And I'm working on ways to bring us back to what we were conscious-wise when we were born and little kids.
So is the government, whoever this government is, the people, I guess, that were in control at Montauk, are they intentionally trying to suppress and control humanity right now?
Yeah, I see all sorts of evidence for that.
Could you tell us about that a little bit?
Well, you just turn on what we call a television screen, and you watch a television show. That's full of conditioning stuff. When they take an ad for McDonald's hamburgers, and make them look as delicious as possible, isn't that mind control?
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Mind control is all over the place. If nothing else, the fact we have to work for a living to earn the dineros to go buy our food, that's mind control right there.
I think you're right. I mean, that's so true. I mean, if you think about it, the way our
Now, what we found through the electromagnetics, a third of the people responded very well, another third didn't respond, and the last third got angry over it.
Really?
The electromagnetic mind control wasn't all that successful. That's why we're still relying on subliminal type influences. Because we really, in our society, do not have a device where you flip a switch and everybody wants to go eat a McDonald's hamburger. We can do that for a single person. So the electromagnetic mind control doesn't work that well, and we're still relying on the subliminals. Yes, mind control is everywhere. And the best defense is to be connected to your soul consciousness and realize it and heal against it.
Well, that's
a good part of my work right there.
Preston, what's the name of your book again?
The first one is Montauk Project Experiments in Time.
Okay. Well, Thomas, thanks for letting me come on your show. I didn't want to steal your guest from you. I think he's fascinating, and it's a tremendous guy to listen to. It's good talking to you,
Well,
Preston.
thank you, Mark. Thank you for the compliment. Always appreciated.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night, Mark. Yeah, I'm glad he called in and had some good questions for you.
Yeah.
And if anybody else would like to call in, the call-in number is 646-915-9751. Please call in and have your questions ready for Mr. Nichols.